Hey there, Vintage fans. It is Bryant Cook, and today we're playing, well, a format that I haven't touched in almost 3 months. My vintage videos tend to not do very well, so I don't record them very often, but I've been getting the itch to play again thanks to a newer card from, I believe, Streets of New Capenna. I'm talking about Ledger Shredder. So whenever you cast your second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. So it draws a card and discards a card. If that card is a non-land card, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. And in the meantime, you get a 2 mana flying 1/3 bird. Pretty powerful effect. And when you're running things like Mox Emerald, well, I don't know why I chose that Mox in particular, but Moxen, Black Lotus, Lotus Petal, whatever, you get to trigger the Ledger Shredder on turn 2. So you get to fill your graveyard on accident for a card like Underworld Breach, which is our primary game plan. So Ledger Shredder just fits into our shell really nicely. So we're still a Tinker deck. We still have Citadel in here. I've shoved the Sphinx of the Steelwind into the sideboard to make room for Shredder number 3, because when you have Urza Saga to make construct tokens and Ledger Shredder and Citadel and Breach, you have enough things going on in the main deck. I don't think you actually need this Sphinx. So yeah, we're a deck with a lot of combos in it, and it's sort of all held together by Preordain. Last year, during Eternal Weekend, I played a ton of Vintage. I prepared for a whole bunch of people in a private Discord, and Alex McKinley of that Discord ended up winning the Mox Emerald painting with my exact 75 that was built on the idea that Preordain helps you enable these 2-card Monty combos in Vintage. So I'm talking about Manifold Key and Time Vault, Underworld Breach, Brain Freeze with Lotus Petal and Black Lotus, all that good stuff. So Preordain was sort of the glue that held the deck together, and that's what I noticed, and that allowed Alex to carry himself to a victory, which was pretty sweet. Yeah, if you have any thoughts, questions, suggestions on this deck list, whatever, put those down below. But I'll be honest, Vintage, a lot of this stuff is pretty stock. Like, there's not a whole lot of room to mess around, especially if you're a blue deck. So you're really looking at a difference of between 10 and 15 cards per deck. Everything else is pretty stock. So like, you're only allowed to play one Narset, so you play the one. You can only play one Tinker, that sort of thing. In the sideboard, we do have the 3rd copy of Fluster for those blue matchups, so that way you can board out your Hurkyl's Recall since it's not very good there. You can board up to 4 Recall against decks like Mishra's Workshop. Leyline of the Void's obviously for Bazaar. My good friend Ryan Walagora convinced me to quit playing things like Grafdigger's Cage, Soul Guide Lantern, Tormod Script, whatever. He convinced me that those were all traps against the Dredge matchup, and ever since I've switched to Leyline of the Void, I began to win a lot more, so I think Ryan was correct there. Lightning Bolt is really just for the bug matchups, but also like those Bant Hate Bears-esque decks. I tried to find room for a 3rd, but honestly, the deck is just like becoming kind of cramped, especially when you're cramming in 3 copies of Ledger Shredder. But I think this card's going to be amazing. I really do mean that, and that's why I'm recording this video today, because I'm a believer in the bird. I've got bird brain, let's do it. So yeah, that's all I have. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. That said, there's no better way of showing your support than becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks, and we get to keep making combo content. The perks get better and better each level you go up. They also stack. To start off, with our Storm Fan tier, you unlock our private members section of our Discord, which comes with a highlighted user profile and then some awesome badges and emotes for YouTube. Looking for sideboard help? Become a Stormtrooper, our middle tier, for 2 sideboard guides of your deck choice every single month, on top of 50% off donation decks. Did we mention you also get 10% off merchandise from our shop? With our top tier, the Combo Cabal, you get a free donation deck every single month, 15% off merchandise from our shop, early access to private deck lists, and the most valuable perk in my opinion, videos early. That's right, you heard it, early access to all videos. But maybe sweet perk, secret deck list, early access to videos isn't for you, but you'd still like to show your appreciation. Make sure to check out theepicstorm.com/shop for card singles and Storm swag. Please don't forget to use your membership discounts. Finally, if you want to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel, make sure to visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks, where all you have to do is attach your TXT file and pick a donation tier. With our Epic tier, you can even join me in a video to showcase your bold brew in person and explain the ins and outs of your strategy. Card availability won't be an issue due to our new sponsor, Card Hoarder. With Card Hoarder, renting is super easy. If you're looking to get into Magic Online, there isn't a better, more affordable solution than Card Hoarder. Fun fact, you can rent the Epic Storm for 7 tickets a week, which is just a great deal. There are many ways you can support us. Just pick whatever is best for you. In the meantime, let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first match. We're lucky enough to be on the play. And we just have Vampiric Tutor and Time Vault, so I can go get Key. I think that this hand is probably fine. I'm not really sure what I'm facing. I'm not going to bother looking up anyone's decks. I'm sort of just going to play Magic. Alright, so let's lead off on Misty Rainforest and just pass the turn. Okay. Opponent with 8 cards. So they're an island deck. Good to know. So I think what we're going to do here is I will cast the Brainstorm off of Underground Sea, and then upkeep Vampiric Tutor to shuffle my library. Alright, and let's cast the Brainstorm. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's get rid of the Delta and... Honestly, I think I want to keep this stuff. So, I'm not going to upkeep Vamp. I want the mana source. And now we'll play Time Vault. Pass the turn, and end step I can Vampiric Tutor for Key with double backup. Underground Sea. Are you Doomsday? Mana Crypt. So not Doomsday. Lotus. 3 blue. 5 mana. Narset. That doesn't matter to me. I'm going to let that go. Like, that's just not a card I'm concerned with here. So Narset. And you might be thinking, like, Bryant, why did you let Narset resolve that card so good? It really only matters if our opponent like tries to play a Time Twister or something along those lines. So, Time Walk was a pretty good find off the Narset, I will admit. So they have 2 cards available here, or 2 mana available here with 4 cards in hand. I could try to force through the Vamp. I think I'm going to try to counter this. Let's see what they have. Flusterstorm. Yeah, it's a good one. They now have 3 cards. Okay. So 3 cards, plus they get to untap, they get to draw, and they get to activate Narset. Mana Crypt. They use Narset again. One thing that might have been a little bit of a tell this game was that I chose to leave up Underground Sea over Volcanic Island in a format defined by Pyroblast. So they might be able to deduce that I have a Vampiric Tutor in hand. They find Ancestral Recall. I will attempt to mental misstep this. They have 4 cards in hand currently. They have another Fluster. In response, I'm going to Vampiric Tutor for Key. So this way they can't go blue source, play another Fluster. Let's select my Manifold Key, and we're just going to hit F6. I cannot pay. No. So they have not played a Force of Will yet, so there's a pretty good chance that my Key doesn't resolve, but it's the best chance that I have of winning this game at the moment. Our opponent opened up with a pretty strong draw. Tundra, okay. Merchant Scroll. So now they can just go get Force of Will. That's what they do. Okay, draw. Wonder, like, if I was supposed to get Saga there. It would have been a interesting decision. I don't know if the game would have lasted long enough for that, but they pitch stress down, pass the turn. Come on, Mana Crypt. There's a Mentor with 3 cards in hand. Knight's Whisper. So they're just like an Esper mid-range deck. Wild. 4 cards in hand. Let's draw Tinker. So close. So close to Tinker. I'll pass. You might be thinking, like, why would I play out Manifold Key the previous turn? And I can understand why you'd think that after I go ahead and draw Pyroblast. I think you're supposed to just get your opponent to burn the resources because every vintage card is so powerful where I'm going to counter that. So if whatever blue card they're pitching is probably broken. In this instance, it was a dress down. But what if instead it was, I don't know, a dig through time or whatever? But if I don't play the key, they get to untap and dig through time. So I think you're just better off letting them remove their spells. And here we're dead. They get to just Snapcaster Time Walk at this point. So we lost game 1 to the Esper control deck. Alright, well, at least I know what I'm facing now. Okay, so I definitely want Fluster 3. I think there's a good chance that I want Lightning Bolt. Now we have to find some room. We're at 63 cards. I know that I don't want the Hurricles, so that can get out of the deck. Traditionally in these matchups, I do like boarding out Mystical just because it is a matchup about card advantage. So I like doing that. And then you can even board out Lotus Petal for a similar reason. It's not really about speed. And Lotus is enough to work with the Underworld Breach as well. So 3 in, 3 out, and let's hit submit. Alright, game 2 on the play. Let's see if we can bounce back from that tough game 1 loss. This seems fine to me. Keep. Unfortunately, we don't have a Mox to make this saga a little bit better, but I think it's still fine. Now I'm beginning to wonder if I should have gotten Saga in game 1 instead of getting the key itself. That was probably just a punt. Alright. I think the plan is to Demonic Tutor on turn 2. Alright, and the opponent's passing. Alright, draw. Drew another land. Trigger Saga. See if they tried to Ancestral. They paused for a long time in second main phase, so I thought there was a chance that they had it. Try to resolve Demonic Tutor. Okay, so Demonic resolved, which is pretty interesting. Normally I'd want to get like Tinker here, but I'm not sure if that's actually what I want to be doing. Could also just get Ancestral. But then like the scroll pretty much only exists to pitch to the Force. Could just grab Underworld Breach when I have Brain Freeze and Saga gets Lotus. I don't hate that. Okay, let's try this out. The nice thing about getting Breach here is that it avoids the multiple main deck Flusterstorms we saw in the first game. Alright, and they're going to fetch, going to 19. Tundra. Lavinia. I'm going to let that go. Yeah, I can't respond, so do your thing. Of course they have Narset again. Oh, jeez. Okay. And they pick up a Force of Will. Alright, draw. All right, I'm going to play this a little bit differently. I'm not going to go the construct route. I mean, I could, I guess. So the alternative plan is that I merchant scroll for Fluster. Yeah, I think that's the line. I just go get Fluster. Pass the turn. So we know that they have at least one force. Narset. Paradoxical outcome. Alright. I sort of had a feeling in game one, but I wasn't sure. Like, we didn't actually see enough of their deck to be certain on that. So oddly enough, I also boarded in Lightning Bolt, which happens to be good right now. I don't have it, but it would be good. Okay, so I'll fetch. We know that our opponent has a force. Let's attempt to kill the Lavinia. Alright, so they force pitching the outcome. That's fine. Alright, so we'll draw, tap this for mana, and then use the search. We'll go get Black Lotus. I want to sacrifice the Lotus for red, because then I can escape the Pyroblast multiple times. So I think I want to tap the C. Like, I don't actually need this Demonic Tutor, so I think I'm going to start off on Brainstorm. Oh my god, I just brainstormed into an R set. Oh no. Oh. Oh, jeez. I am so bad. I am so bad. Oh. Alright. Let's see if I can still win. I can't believe I did that. Jeez. You can tell it's been a while since I played Vintage. That resolved. Let's attempt to Pyroblast the Lavinia. They have 5 cards. Okay, so that was good. Now I can rebuy Lotus. Am I still going to win this after that horrible punt? Brain freeze for 5? Wow, and our opponent concedes. You can play like garbage and still win. Oh, okay. Note to Bryant, please do not cast more brainstorms in an R set. Oh wow, that was terrible. Let's get these lightning bolts out of our deck. We don't want those. They're not really the card we want here. So it is PO. So we are interested in the Mystical Tutor. This is not a card advantage matchup, and we're interested in the Lotus Petal. Those things just changed. I think like you could keep in Hercules as like a counter spell for PO. I just think that's trying to fight the matchup with the wrong axis personally. Okay, sorry, I keep on and umming. I'm going to submit this, I believe. Yes, they had Lavinia. I don't think you want to leave in Lightning Bolt versus the PO deck. My 2 cents. Click submit. Game 3. We've opened up a pretty strong hand here. We have the Ledger Shredder to pitch. We can turn to Tinker with Force backup. I'm in. Turn 1 Polluted Delta. For a Tundra. Mox Opal. Ormod's Crypt, sure. Black Lotus, so now they will have Metalcraft. This is not a card I'm interested in forcing. I feel like that's, once again, not how you win this matchup. They have 3 cards. Mana Vault, okay, so now they have 2 cards in hand. Looks like a paradoxical outcome with 1 unknown. I'm going to attempt to force this. They have 1 card in hand. If I get flustered, it's going to stink. Alright, they have 1 card. Draw. Another Saga. Play Emerald. Play Soul Ring. Play the Strand and pass. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to try to play the Saga because, like, I don't think that we're in a spot where this game is about grinding your opponent down. Like, our opponent's in a spot where as long as they top deck, I'm dead. So I want to have the ability to just Vampire Tutor for Tinker on my turn. Well, on their end step, you know what I mean? Like, end step, Vamp into Tinker. So Lavinia was their last card. That's unfortunate for me. So I think that changes things a little bit. I can still Vampire Tutor, but I don't think Tinker is the card anymore. So let's Vamp. They have one card in hand. And I can play anything that costs 2. It'd be interesting to get Time Walk. But then I'm like really, really committing to the Saga plan. I could just get Ancestral. Can't play Narset for multiple reasons. Could get Time Vault, but I'm still a couple turns away from the key. So in my mind, it's Ancestral or Time Walk. I think it's going to be Ancestral. A little bit afraid of Hull Breacher here, but I don't know if I can afford to just play around it. I get Time Walk. I can start making Sagas next turn, but like, is that even that good? I'm just gonna grab Ancestral. Okay. Draw. Okay. Please don't Breacher me. Well, that was very good. So I can Tinker next turn. Do I go a turn without having Fluster up? They'd have 5 mana. So if I play Saga now, that means if the Tinker resolves next turn, I'd have the Tinker win. So it's about having Saga now versus potentially flustering an important card. So if they have like Demonic Tutor into Tinker, Fluster stops that. Alright, I'm just gonna play a little bit more conservatively here. It's worth noting that my own Tinker for Citadel, all the spells would be countered by Lavinia, so there's not really an incentive to do that. So I will take 2 from the Lavinia going to 14. And they will pass. Untap, draw. Another Fluster, wow. I think I pass now. Like, there's no reason for me to cast Tinker, because I can't get key next turn anyway. So at least now I'm potentially passing with double Fluster back up. Ouch, I go to 12. Academy. So now these Flusters look kind of bad. Alright, they have 2 cards. So Saga can make a construct. Blast with no red mana. I think I'm just going to pass here. They're untapping the Mana Vault, so they must have nothing in hand. They choose not to attack very wisely. Let's make a construct. Alright, draw. So this would be countered by the Lavinia. Alright, let's make another construct. Do I just get Ruby here? Is that crazy? Like, I don't even know if I need to. I guess if I get Ruby, I could blast the Lavinia trying to tinker into Citadel. And if that's the case, I should get Lotus. Alright, let's attack. Post combat, let's Pyroblast the Lavinia. Gotta get that Storm count up. Play the Mana Crypt. And let's Tinker. Getting rid of the Mana Crypt. What are the 2 cards in your hand? I'm guessing it's like Hardcast Force. Like, that's what I'm reading. And it just resolved? Okay, I'll get Citadel. Into the Singleton Sensi's Divining Top, just how I drew it up. Jeez. Play top. Because once you top, the fun don't stop. Alright, let's draw another card going into 8 life. Could have played that Volcanic. There's Time Vault. That puts me to 5. Alright, let's put that into play. And then we'll play this. So I can play Breach, but they have a Crypt. I'm at 4 life now, play a Mox. How low do I want to go? They're at 11, so I also can't win via Citadel activation. I'm going to spin the top. Okay, I think there's a new game plan, and that game plan is we're just going to pass the turn. Or maybe I make them sacrifice the crypt here. They let it go. So they're just dead to vamp into the manifold key. That would put me to 2 and then 1, so I couldn't force. I could also just tinker. What's the best way? Alright, so I guess it's actually free here for me to play Lotus first, because now that our opponent let it resolve, if they decide to crit me now, I can still Vamp or Ancestral in response. Okay, so now let's sacrifice the Lotus for triple blue. This should just be wrapped up. Okay. Trying not to lose life if I don't have to. Opponent with a Flusterstorm for 14. It's really weird to me that they waited this long. Like, you could have flustered the Tinker that started this turn. I guess we're gonna do this. This sucks. Now I have to click through all this stuff. And then our opponent will pay, and then I have a second fluster. Just the least convenient way possible. And our opponent decided rather than paying for it that they would just concede, which is fine by me. We would have gotten there eventually, but we've won match number 1. Unfortunately, the only thing that Ledger Shredder did was pitch to a Forcible on turn 1. That said, that Force did win us the game, so I'll take it. Props to you, Ledger Shredder. I will see everyone in match number 2. If you haven't joined them already, I would recommend opening up our description down below and joining our 7 social media networks. They're each great in their own way, but I would strongly suggest joining our Discord server. In there, you will find others just like you looking to improve their Storm game and grow as a combo community. If you're a member of our YouTube channel, you should sync your account to Discord to unlock our private member section that has the latest and greatest deck lists, concepts, and much, much more. Let's get back to comboing out. Alright, match 2, we've opened up Shredder and a way to play it on turn 1. The question is, do we actually play it on turn 1? Because we're guaranteed a way to trigger it turn 2, but we have to take down our protection with Flusterstorm. I'm not sure. Mox Sapphire, okay. Alright, jigs up, they know my hand. Ataxian Probe, powerful card. Tropical Island, so they're likely on bug if that's the case. And they're passing. Mana Crypt. Let's shred. Sapphire. And let's play Scroll. I think we're supposed to get a Force here. Pass the turn. So the reason I think we get a force is that like my current hand really struggles against a collector roof. That's at least how I'm viewing this, and I have top to trigger the ledger shredder. Soul ring, okay. Will you give me a connive trigger? Turn one bird. Such a noble bird. Look at that. So noble. Much advisor. Alright, they're going to be a coward and not play a spell. Or they're just switching to second main phase. I've mentioned this in previous Vintage videos, but I feel like Vintage players tend to play the slowest of any constructed format I've ever played. It's just like with the power levels being so high, people feel that they need to think everything through. And there's something wrong with that. I really do mean that. I mean, if I had thought through in the first round, I wouldn't have brainstormed into an Narset, right? So I'm just making an observation. Another Shredder. Hell yeah. Spell number 1. And spell number 2. Let's shred. We've got birds. Discard. I think we discard the Mox. Oh, I did it backwards. I need to pay attention to that because now I'm missing 1 extra damage this turn. That's my bad. My bad. Yeah, I just lost out on a point of damage. But Shredder's looking pretty good right now. They're fetching. Likely going to be an Underground Sea. Okay, so you're not bug mid-range? That's interesting. 3 mana for Abeyance. What are you playing? Oh, force pitching the Narset. So if they play a second spell here, I do get to trigger the Shredders. Let's turn off the auto yields. Because if they do decide to play a second spell, I could flop the top first to get a little bit of equity. I'm wondering what they're like. I don't know what they're doing. In fact, I don't think I've seen Abeyance in 10 years. A card I once played in the Epic Storm, fun fact. Free Silence. I played Orum's Chant and Abeyance for a hot second. And our opponent's passing the turn. I don't know what they're doing. I'm going to attempt to top here. If I get punished, I get punished. Okay. Mana Crypt. Alright. Draw. So I'm drawing the Preordain that we know about. Flop top. Play Preordain. So this is spell 1. Get rid of the strand. Take the top. Alright, now we get our triggers. Discard Vamp, so that will give them a counter. And then Shredder again. Okay. Play the Saga. We have a colorless floating, so we might as well top here. But they know that I'm down to just the Fluster's interaction, which is unfortunate. Okay, so let's attack for 5. And pass the turn. And they just conceded. Really? Okay. Not really sure what happened there, but alright. So there's some sort of Bant deck with the Bants. I don't know. So I guess I want Fluster and I don't want Hurkyl's Recall. That's a pretty easy guess to make. Bant decks are usually hate bear decks, so maybe I want Lightning Bolt. I'm not entirely sure. 2 cards need to go out. I think it's the Lotus Petal again, and maybe the Mystical. Let's do this and call it a day, I suppose. I am not a fan of this. Let's go to 6. I mean, I don't think this hand is great either. I'm probably going to bottom the top since it's super mana intensive, and the rest of my hand is also mana intensive, so it makes sense to me. Alright, so as I mentioned, we're going to keep this and bottom the top. Misty Rainforest, and it looks like they're passing. Draw. Soul Ring. That's an interesting one. I'm going to just look for land 2 here and cast Preordain. I think I'm going to bottom Shredder. I just don't think it's what we need right now. Tropical Island. And it looks like they're just passing. Wow. Lightning Bolt. That's pretty good because green decks usually have Collector Oof in them, and now we have a little bit of Oof insurance. What's Demonic Tutor? Assuming that this resolves, I would get Black Lotus, and then we have Narset with Fluster backup. One has 6 cards. Sacrifice for blue. Let's play the Narset. This hand is an Underworld Breach away from winning. Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. I will attempt to Fluster Storm. They have 4 cards in hand. They're playing green, so it could be Veil of Summer, but it could also just be their own copy of Fluster. Okay, so not their own copy of Fluster. And now Narset's back on the stack. Narset resolves. So they pitched another Force of Will to 4, so that tells us that they're light on blue cards. Is that Ancestral Recall? Welcome to the party. Heck yeah. And the opponent concedes. Alright, so some sort of Bant control deck. I'll take the win. We are 2-0. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Bird, 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 keep. Alright, so we are going to bird. That's what this hand does. Let's see what our opponent's up to. Turn 1 Saga. So it's constructs versus birds. That's what we're doing here. Key. I'm going to let that go. Draw. Hello, turn 1 bird. Blue. Bird. 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 Ooh, they were F6'd. That's a little surprising. Saga is on 2. Mox Ruby, that's fine. Their next spell would give me a Connive trigger. Are you on chops? Or are you just trying to make constructs? Alright, Crypt. We won the flip. Play bird. Alright, I'm gonna brainstorm trying to pump this bird up. Okay. Do I think they're a blue deck? Probably not. Not with Caracas. So let's pump up the bird. Second bird. Get rid of the strand. Oh, I probably should have gotten rid of the island. Like, there's a brainstorm on this deck. Hercules looks insane here. Wow. Yeah, that's actually nuts. Okay, so spell. These will not pump up the birds. But I do have Hercules protection. For some reason, our opponent does something wild, I can Hercules them. That's my thought process. What is this just a construct? Yeah, you take your 2 and like it. Alright, now they're making a construct. And here's another. So they can get something that costs 0 or 1 with Urza's Saga. They choose Mana Vault, which makes sense when you have Key. 3 mana. Now they're going to go up to 5 mana for a Revoker. I'm gonna let that go. They choose Lotus Petal, so I cannot Hurkyl's Recall this turn now. Ooh, a second Shredder. Let's get rid of this Misstep. And the Island. On my turn, I'm going to attempt to set them back to the Stone Age with this Hurkyl's. Alright, I'll gladly take 7 here. I'm at 12. Alright, Mana Crypt will go to 9. I'm just going to assume that I lose this. Alright, I won. Sweet. Let's tap this. How about our Hurkyl's Recall? Let's trigger some birds. Discard. So if I vamp, it's just going to mill the top card. Ooh, I can get Time Lock here. Is that good? I can just get Tinker. Think the plays Tinker. If I get Breach, I can rebuy Lotus Petal. So, okay, they conceded, but if I get Breach here, rebuy Petal, I think there might be a line that wins with Breach. Okay, so we're facing shops. Hurkyl's comes in, Lightning Bolt comes in. We want Needle, we want the Blightsteel. Okay, what we don't want is Flusterstorm, so that can get out of our deck. Mental Misstep is honestly a little bit weak too. Yes, we saw Mana Vault and they have Manifold Key, but in general, there's usually not a whole lot of Mental Misstep targets, so I'm fine with boarding that out. Narset can get sided out here, and so can Pyroblast. So that brings me down to 61, so we need to find one more slot. Some people like boarding out Citadel when bringing in Colossus. I am not one of those people. Those cards are both good in certain situations, and I think just having options is also something you're really interested in. Although I am at a loss here on what to board out. Could be Shredder 3. I know that the birds look pretty good there, but I don't know if this is really the matchup for them. Yup. Keep. Let's go. So this hand's like kind of interesting. So you have Ancestral Recall, which is obviously a broken card. But if you Mystical Tutor, if you keep Mystical Tutor, you just have turn 2 Tinker into Blightsteel Colossus. So like I think it's crazy, but Tutor might be better than Ancestral. Sphere. Yeah, let's force this. 4 mana. Well, that was a really good opening hand. Okay. The question is, do I lead on Saga or do I lead on the island? So Saga gets Mana Crypt, which I think is pretty interesting, so I'm going to lead on that. 3 mana. How different this game would be if I was on the play. Sphere of Resistance. Ancient Tomb, 2 cards in hand. They're passing. Okay. So next turn, the Saga gets Mana Crypt, and we can start playing spells. 5 mana. So they can play a 4-drop here because of the Sphere. Yeah, you can't play Golos, I'm sorry. That's not how math works. Soul Ring, okay. So now they can play a 3-drop. Revoker, sure. They have 1 unknown in hand. Black Lotus, okay. Draw. Let's tap this, Urza Saga for mana. We will go get Mana Crypt. Play a Volcanic Island. So now I can play a Sapphire into Mystical Tutor. So the way that these two cards combine is that your spell isn't 3+1, it's the total casting cost has to equal 3. So now we go get Tinker, and our opponent's up against a wall just because it's usually pretty hard for these decks to answer Blightsteel Colossus, and now they have 1 card in hand. And it's a key. Yeah, I mean, we're looking pretty good at the moment. I'll take 2 down to 17, and then we have a Mana Crypt flip. Flip. I lost the flip. Wump wump. Alright, so now this Tinker costs 4 because it's 3+1. Because I've already met the 3 mana requirement. Sacrifice the Mana Crypt. Go get Blightsteel. Pass the turn. And if you think about how this game played out, we decided our plan on turn 1 by pitching Ancestral Recall and keeping the line that found us Tinker. So, like, I know that it didn't seem like much, but those small decisions really do matter. And our opponent just conceded, so now we're 3-0. How about that? 2 rounds left. Hey, you're still watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you're looking to make a purchase from Card Hoarder, TCG Player, or Amazon and are looking to support us, you can open up our description down below, and in there you will find our affiliate links. Those same links are found on the homepage of the Epic Storm. But that's not all. We've included a Card Hoarder button on our website that will load the Epic Storm in your Card Hoarder cart to make life simple for you. Alright, match 4, we are facing turn 1 Tinker. We're going to keep this. I faced them once before and they were on chops. You know, they could easily change that. No one is obligated to play anything in Vintage, especially in an era with rental accounts. But our hand's pretty well rounded, and against chops, we do have a turn 1 force, which is nice to have. We also have 2/3 of the Breach combo, so we just need to find Brain Freeze. Tropical Island. That's right, you've got it. Come on, Brain Freeze. Luster. Interesting. I think I'm just going to play the Misty and pass. This way I have Force plus Fluster up to stop a turn 2 Collector Roof. And I don't really want to play anything into the Deathrite Shaman. I want to keep cards in my graveyard that I can escape away. And if I lead on Volcanic Island, a Wasteland really wrecks me. They're fetching. So this is Bug. Could have guessed with the Deathrite. You can have a life from the Lum, that's fine. 5 cards in the opponent's hand, draw. Citadel. We can cast that with Force Backup. Let's do that. Fetch. Triple black. Colossus Citadel. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. We know one of them is a land. Boo! We have to pass. That hurt. Force of Figure, pitching Abrupt Decay. Pitch Fluster. I think we want the Preordain. Alright, so our opponent's going up to 4 cards in hand. We know that one of them is a land, so they have 3 unknowns. A little bit unfortunate to reveal a land on top if you think about it mathematically. I have 13 lands in my deck, and we see 4 of them here. Oh, wow, and they have the trophy. That hurts. That hurts. Okay, so we really want to find Brain Freeze. That was unfortunate. Okay. Draw. Preordain. Narset. I'm into that. Let's play her. One has 2 cards in hand. Minus the Narset down to 3. So we have Brain Freeze now. The problem is I have no way of playing the Underworld Breach this turn. They're going to eat something with the Deathrite Shaman, probably the Preordain. And they do. I'm at 16. They dredge life from the loam. That's an interesting decision. They play loam, getting back Misty. So then they play the Misty down to 2 cards in hand. Well, they attack the Narset. They do. So when I use Narset on our turn, she'll die. Alright, they have 2 cards. Draw. Mox minus the Narset. Let's take the Ponder. Play the Ponder. Another Breach is pretty good here. Wow. Let's take Backup Breach. So this allows us to beat a Counterspell or an Abrupt Decay. Fetch. We'll go get another copy of Volcanic Island. Underworld Breach. Play Black Lotus. Like I mentioned, if they have another Decay or Trophy, it doesn't really matter that much. 2 mana. Beseiju. Sweet. Yes. Right, Lotus. Show them the second copy of Underworld Breach. Gotcha. Brain freeze that you knew about. Love to see it. And the opponent concedes. I feel like I played that one fairly well. I mean, I wasn't perfect, but decently. Let's bring the Fluster, the 2 bolts. I like Needle in this matchup. Just to name Wasteland, and you can hurt them a little bit with Deathrite, but it's really just for Wasteland and to protect your Sagas. Could bring in Blightsteel. That's something I've wondered a lot about. Yes, it can get hit by Oko, but it's immune to Beseiju, which is interesting. So I think here you can actually board out Citadel and just rely on these 2. So we're at 66 cards right now, which is a lot. Take out Lotus Petal. This is a grindier matchup, and they have a bunch of Collector Roofs. Take out Mystical. Take out the Hercules at 63 cards left. I wonder if like Shredder just isn't good enough versus the deck with a bunch of trophies and decays. It does allow you to beat down through a Collector Roof, but I'm not sure if that's enough. Another thought is like, what if we just don't bring in the Needles? Like, is that fine? I'm up for trying that, just saying like, you can waste me, I'll win another way. Yeah, I think I'm into that. Let's try this out. I like that this build is less all in on Saga, so you don't have to make concessions like that with the Needle. Yup. This is a turn 2 Time Vault win with double backup. My best draw on turn 1 is like Mana Crypt or Black Lotus. There's an Emerald. Sapphire. Library. Sure. Okay, drop into Deathrite. You got it. They have 2 cards. Draw. Ponder. So I could play Ponder. No, because I just have double force here. Just play the Time Vault. Pass. Alright, so they need a really good Sylvan Library. I imagine they're paying 8, and they do. They have 5 cards. You can ponder. You might have thought, like, Bryant, why don't you force the library on turn 1? Which is a fair question, but I didn't have the ponder at the time. So if I make the decision to force the library, this could go unprotected. This trip mine's huge here, because now I can't play and activate the key. They have strip mine lock. That's not good. I need a draw land here. Or a Mox, either works. They have 4 cards. No. Come on, deck, please. That's a bummer. We will force pitching the bird. E. Pass the turn. So we know that they have strip mine, 2 unknowns, and then they get the Sylvan Library on their turn. So if they pay 8 here, they go to 2. The problem is their deck full of Abrupt Decays and Assassin's Trophies. So the last 2 turns haven't been that great for me because I gave them an opportunity to just draw what their deck does. Like, they have trophies, they have Abrupt Decays, they have Force of Vigors. I'm giving them opportunities to find these cards with the library. They dredge with the first one and they pick up a Besage. So now I have to force the Life from the Loam, which is just devastating. They pay once with the library. Will you pay a second time? They're at 2. So they have Strip Mine in hand, Life from the Loam, and then 4 other cards. I feel a little bit foolish for pitching the bird now, because the bird theoretically could be lethal. Alright, so here's the Life from the Loam. I am obligated to try to force this. So they have 4 unknowns. If they Force of Will back, they can play land, activate Besage. Well, my Force resolved, that's kind of surprising. So they could still have Abrupt Decay or Trophy here. 2 blue. This is a dig through time? Yep. So they're looking for Force of Vigor. Do we get a concession? No concession. Black Lotus. Black Roof. Alright, that's enough for me. We can go to the next one. That's a bummer. Alright, off to game 3. I'm just going to resubmit. Game 3 on the play. Turn 1 bird? I am down with that. Alright, land, Mox, bird. Okay, the bird is the word. It is on the table. We have turn 2 Urza's Saga. We have no way of triggering this, unfortunately. Mox Emerald. Trigger. Discard Saga. I think I'm down to misstep here. Okay. I could have kept the second copy of Saga, but I think the Bolt is likely to be a little bit better. And Force of Vigor here would be not great for us. Let's attack and just pass the turn. Alright, no Force of Vigor. Alright, so now they can play Force of Vigor and pay for Fluster. And they wisely chose to wait. They pitched Abrupt Decay, which is an answer to the bird. Draw. This is a tough decision here. I think it's the Saga. I'm not super confident in that, though. Get in. And pass. They have 3 cards. Underground Sea. Misty. So this could be a trophy. It could also be something like Abrupt Decay. Or nothing. They're at 16. 4 mana. Is this Sunoco? Yep. Unfortunate. They make a food. Yeah, that Oko is going to be tough to beat. Draw. Saga goes to 2. Attack the Oko. Pass the turn. I mean, I have 3 Pyroblasts. I just need to draw one. 3 mana. What is this? 4 mana. Is it a dig? It is a dig. Bluster that. Alright, so they have 2 cards in hand. I could play the Bolt here to trigger the bird. I don't know about that, though. Alright, we're going to do it. See if I can convert this Delta into something that's reasonable. Like that. Okay. Are you going to Force of Will a Lightning Bolt? They choose no. Alright, draw. That's interesting. So I can make a 1/1 here. I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get top. And let's spin the top. Hopefully there's a blue card. There is. And a breach. Let's blast the Oko. Okay. They have 2 cards in hand. The breach isn't even that good right now. Like, it doesn't actually do anything. Lotus. And they're passing with 2 cards in hand. Spin top. I think I just put breach on the bottom here. And let's attack. So that way if I'm forced to connive, I can just mill the land that I don't care about. Okay. And they're just passing. I wonder how much of their hand is just like Besejus and Force of Vigors. Another bird. Okay. But we're gonna main phase the bird in case there's like a counter war here. Alright, it looks like there's a hardcast force. I'm going to let this go. I don't think this game is really about Ledger Shredder. Attack. And we'll pass the turn. They still have 2 cards. They're a little more constricted on mana now. They had to sacrifice the Black Lotus. Alright, they're still at 2 cards in hand. Let's upkeep top. Mana Crypt. Put the land on the bottom, Crypt in the middle, and we'll just draw the breach. That way I'm not forced to loot the breach later. Get in there. Death by 20 beats from a Ledger Shredder. Full Breacher. Do I care about that? I guess yes, because it forces a draw that gives them treasures. Alright, I'll force. They have 1 card in hand. So I get a Shredder trigger. I know that my top card is Mana Crypt. So if I keep the Crypt, I can then play Breach next turn, floating 1 colorless, and then I have a blue. But that actually doesn't do a whole lot. I'm going to top in response. It's just a bunch of lands. Okay, so I do get a connive trigger. They're hellbent. They have a breacher. Draw land. Unfortunately, this breach just like doesn't do enough, I think. Let's top. Narset's interesting. Let's attack. Alright, so they're at 10 life, 1 unknown. Playing Mana Crypt is also dangerous for me. Play top, or activate the top, I mean. Yeah, this breach just has no, like, I need another volcanic island in order for it to be okay. Alright, I'm gonna risk it here. I'm gonna play the crypt into Narset. Actually, if I take that line, I might have just messed up, because it makes me discard a card. And I can't draw, so that was actually a bad line. I shouldn't have drawn the Narset. I should have drawn the land. I guess it doesn't matter. Alright, they have 2 cards in hand. I'll go to 8. Mox. They have 1 unknown. Spin the top. Time Walk is interesting. I think we just want this. Play the Narset. Hardcast Force. That was a good last card in hand. Alright, let's attack. So we know my top card is Time Walk. Jeez Louise. Oh, that hurts. So I'm going to go to 5 here. Draw. Play the Time Walk. And then spin top. Tinker's pretty good here. Alright, put Tinker on top. Attack them to 7. Draw. Cast Tinker. So I could get Sphinx or Blightsteel. They've shown us multiple copies of Boseiju, and these lists normally play like 2 Oko. So the question is, would you rather lose to a top-decked Oko or a top-decked Boseiju? They're already down 1 Oko. They have not shown us a Boseiju yet. So I think it's just safer to get Blightsteel here. And then we'll attack them. Alright. The library happens. While our opponent's resolving Sylvan Library, I just had a thought. If I had gone and got Black Lotus on their turn, I could have played Breach into Lotus. Play Lotus into Narset? Or even Lotus into, like, Mox Tinker. Like, I should have gotten Lotus. Like, it was pretty free to do that. And I think I might have even been able to end up with a Time Walk after the Blightsteel, because I have 16 cards in graveyard. So I think I just missed out on an opportunity to guarantee win this game instead of put it in the odds of the Sylvan Library. So just getting Black Lotus would have been much better, I think. So we have 16 cards in graveyard. That's 5 escapes. So I could go Mox Pearl, that's 1. Lotus, that's 2. Tinker, that's 3. Lotus, that's 4. Time Walk, that's 5. And there would have been a 17th card because I would have been forced to discard this crypt. So I had a guaranteed win, where instead our opponent's taken 3 minutes on this library, which means that they're probably not dead. They probably have a tough decision they need to make here. So I missed a guaranteed lethal because I didn't think through Lotus as an option. I was just too focused on Blightsteel or Sphinx. So you're dead? Okay. Oh no, they're not dead. They are not dead. Alright, so I get to go Breach into Time Walk, though. Alright, so I need to think through this. So we can go Underworld Breach, Mana Crypt, I'll get a Connive trigger, they'll make a treasure, I discard this force, Time Walk, and then the Mana Crypt, even if it deals me 3, still wins. So they're Hellbent, no cards in hand, play the Underworld Breach. Honestly, I can just play Pearl here too. And I think our opponent's conceding because I'm glitching here. Alright, we got it. We are 4-0. One more match left for the trophy. Stick around. Let's see if I get it. The Best Legacy Podcast? That would be Eternal Glory featuring myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Koval and Phil Gallagher. We're available on all major podcast platforms and YouTube. Alright, match 5 for the undefeated trophy. We're on the draw. Unfortunately, this hand just doesn't play magic. I'm not allowed to keep that. This seems much better. I will, in fact, keep this. We'll bottom a Flooded Strand. Now, let's see what our opponent's playing. Tropical Island. Bug control again. Yep. Alright, draw. Bird. So I can lead on turn 1 Shredder. I don't know if that's good enough. I think I just want to play this turn and pass it. Basically, I want to be able to force a Collector Roof with Pyroblast backup, or counter an Oko with Blast backup. Ponder happens, not going to counter that. Bayou. Okay. Draw. Mox Jet. Okay, I'm going to take the shields down. Let's attempt to play Bird. Play the Jet, trigger Bird. Discard. I think the Mana Crypt's too big of a liability here. And I'll pass. I'd rather save the Probe for next turn to trigger the Shredder. Ouch, I lose 2 to the Deathrite. Land number 3. You can have a Time Walk. So they're probably going to eat their own Time Walk here and make me lose 2, which is fine. Nope, their own Time Walk is too valuable. So that was a glorified Explore. Wasteland is a good one. Saga down. I'd honestly rather have them kill Saga than the Volcanic. I'm going to let the Oko go, because I think they're going to make a food here. And then I can Blast plus Probe. Or they can turn my bird into an elk. Oh, it's a 4/4. That's cute. Okay, draw. Let's probe you. 15. Another Oko and a Mental Misstep and Strip Mine. Wow! It's so good. Wow. Let's preordain. Looks like they're going to cast the Misstep here. This is a tough spot. I'm going to force it. I think I have to. Brain Freeze is gone, so Breach is no longer a viable choice. Island DT. Okay. Let's attack the Oko. So this encourages them to play out the second Oko because they can make a food token and then immediately turn it into a 3/3. And then I can blast it. Alright, so they have 1 unknown. Yeah, like this just encourages the play pattern of play the second Oko. Maybe they won't though. Who knows? Nope, they're just going to hold that in hand. Okay. Let's Brainstorm. Oh my. That was the nuts. Wow. Okay, I'm at 14. Theoretically 12 with the death right. So let's play Demonic for Lotus. Okay. And then we can Tinker. Maybe I should have kept the Blast. That might have been a mistake. Instead of the land. Citadel. Hold priority. Cast Preordain. Um, we'll put the Breach on top. And put this on top as well, so then we can cast the Breach, and now they're incentivized to respond with this death right. I think we've got it. They eat the tutor. I'll go to 9 life. Black Lotus. Remove Mana Crypt. I don't care about that card. Alright, so I have a bunch of blue mana. I'll play the land. That's fine. Do note that the Brain Freeze is gone. There's no line with Brain Freeze. I had to exile it to Force of Will. So we'll sacrifice this for blue. Let's Preordain. Volcanic. Probe. Moxjet. These both can go on the bottom. A little awkward. So I could Tinker for top. That's probably the line here. Sack Soul Ring. We'll keep Lotus. Alright, grab the top. Alright, so this puts me to 8. Flop top again. Play this. What does Vamp get? I mean, it gets Time Walk, but if I go to 5. Alright, let's see if there's something good I can get here. So I guarantee get Time Walk. So that would put me pretty low on the life. I think it's Time Walk. So I go to 2. Now I can escape Time Walk for another turn after this one. Keep the Lotus in there. We'll attack them. So I have 2 Time Walk turns, I believe. So this is Time Walk turn 1. Spin the top. Alright, so I'll go to 1. Is that actually what I want to do, though? I could just fetch. But how I win this game is somehow finding the mana, the Time Vault. And then I can't fetch. Alright, let's start off by attacking them. Tough call. Alright, I'm gonna go to 1. Play my land. Spin top. I know that I have another Time Walk turn right now. This is all garbage. So I might be dead here. Unless I draw into something very good next turn. Ooh, okay, hold on. I can draw a card. Oh, I held the wrong button. I didn't hold control. I'm stupid new keyboard. I held Option on accident. So I was supposed to untap top right there. That just cost me. Whoops. Did I just lose? Play the top. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Because I should have been 1 card deeper into my deck with the Manifold Key. I mean, Lotus Petal does it, I think, but that's like pretty much it. Spin the top. Alright, so I can play Ruby. Play land. So I just don't know what does it from here. Time Vault? Okay, if I top in a Time Vault. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. And I can't escape Time Walk. Yep, alright, I lost. That's only game one, and I burned half my clock roughly. That was brutal. Okay, it's time to bounce back. Alright, let's get the Citadel out of here. How did I board last round? I took out the Hercules. I think we took out Mystical, we took out Lotus Petal. 61. I think we took out a Shredder as the last card. Let's try this. I feel like that game probably should have been won. Admittedly, I didn't see the Tinker for top line until after I played a few cantrips, so like that was wasted resources. This is turn to Tinker without backup. I think I'd prefer to try to find something first. Preordain. Kind of bottom both of these. Alright, pass. Alright, not Wasteland. I do appreciate that, and they're passing the turn. Draw. See if we can hit that land. Preordain. Shredder. So this is also a turn 2 Tinker with backup, or turn 3 Tinker. You know what I mean. I can Tinker next turn. That's my game plan. So we'll have Misstep Fluster backup. I will misstep. They're going to force. I will attempt to fluster this. Alright, so they have 4 cards in hand. Pass. Land 2, they have 4 cards. That's an oof. So I think I'm supposed to Vampiric Tutor for Ancestral now. I don't think there's really anything else here that makes sense, so let's grab Ancestral. Draw. Target me. Alright, so we have Breach, but it's essentially just like 3 mana Ancestral again, which is fine, it's just, it doesn't do anything else. Wasteland, so that just shut off the Breach Ancestral line. I'm gonna let that go. So now they know that my hand is a bunch of red cards when they're sitting on a Wasteland, so they're not really incentivized to kill the sea. Alright, I'll go to 14. And they're going to pass wisely. There's a Tinker target. Very, very awkward. They have 3 cards. You know what? I'm gonna jam. I'm gonna play the Breach into Ancestral. No way! What? Blown out. Ah, jeez. I just got devastated. This card is not super common. Like, it is in some lists, don't get me wrong. But it's not like in every list. That's what I'm trying to say here. That wasn't the read that I had. I thought that they were holding up the Wasteland for the red source, and now I'm just getting max punished. Yep. Yeah, they've got it. There's no draw here that saves me. It's certainly not Mox Pearl. That is lethal on board too. So unfortunately, after I don't want to say a thrown game one, but a failed game one, and me not finding land 2 off of the preordain early enough, this game got away from me as well. So it's sort of a bummer. We finished 4-1. I'm not going to complain about a 4-1, but I wanted that 5-0. I'm not sure how good Shredder was. Like, it seemed fine to me. It played along with Breach. It did some beatdown. I think it was fine. Do I think it was nuts? No. But I thought Shredder was pretty good in this shell. Let me know what you think. I would really appreciate that in the comment section down below. If you remember, spam that Tinker emoji, my favorite vintage card by far. And thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.